In a small village in Germany, there lived a young man named Felix. He was kind, hardworking, and full of dreams. But there was one big problem: he always gave up too soon. Whenever he tried something new, he failed a few times and then quit. He had tried to become a farmer, but after one bad harvest, he gave up. He tried to start a small shop, but after a few weeks of low sales, he shut it down. One day, an old wise man in the village named Herr Klaus noticed this pattern. He called Felix and said, "Felix, why do you always give up so quickly?" Felix sighed. "Maybe I am just unlucky. No matter how hard I try, things don't work out for me." Herr Klaus smiled and handed Felix a small wooden box. He said, "Take this box and go to the old hill outside the village. At the top, you will find a special stone. Bring it back to me, but there's one rule: you can't give up no matter what happens." Felix was confused, but he agreed. He started his journey early in the morning. As he walked up the hill, the path was steep and rocky. His feet hurt and he wanted to stop. But then he remembered Herr Klaus's words: "Don't give up, no matter what happens." After an hour, he reached a small river. The water was cold and deep. There was no bridge. He thought about going back, but then he saw a few stones in the water. He carefully stepped on them and crossed the river. Further ahead, he faced a dense forest. The trees were thick, and he couldn't see the way forward. The wind howled and he felt scared. He wanted to turn back, but again he remembered Herr Klaus's words. He took small steps and slowly found his way through. As he reached a steep climb, he saw an old man struggling with a heavy sack. The man looked exhausted. Felix hesitated. He was tired himself, but something inside him told him to help. He put his own journey on pause and helped the man carry his sack up the hill. When they reached the top, the old man smiled and said, "Thank you, young man. Your kindness will take you far." Felix felt a strange warmth in his heart. Helping the man made him feel stronger, not weaker. Finally, after hours of struggle, Felix reached the top of the hill. He looked around and saw hundreds of ordinary stones. He didn't know which one was special, but he had come too far to quit. So he picked up the biggest stone and placed it in the wooden box. When Felix returned to the village, Herr Klaus was waiting. Felix handed him the box and said, "Here is the stone you asked for." Herr Klaus opened the box, smiled, and asked, "Tell me, what was the hardest part of your journey?" Felix thought for a moment and said, "Crossing the river and finding my way through the forest. But I didn't give up." Herr Klaus nodded. "And what else did you learn?" Felix smiled and said, "I also learned that helping others doesn't slow you down. It makes you stronger." Herr Klaus laughed and said, "Exactly. Life is like this journey. You will face obstacles, but if you keep going, you will always find a way. And sometimes, when you help others, you help yourself too. This stone is not special, Felix." The journey was... From that day on, Felix never gave up so easily. He restarted his shop, but this time, when things got tough, he kept trying. He also helped others along the way. Years later, when people asked him the secret of his success, he always smiled and said, "I learned two things: never give up too soon, because success may be just one step away, and never be afraid to help others, because kindness will always come back to you,